If you own a dog, you've probably noticed they have a habit of mirroring your movements. You sit, they sit. You yawn, they yawn. They might even try pushing open a door using the exact same motion they just watched use, right down to the way they tilt their heads. It looks like a simple quirk, but it raises a specific investigative question, the skeptical. Ever since the work of psychologist E.L. Thorndike in the late 1800s, researchers maintained that domestic dogs had poor social learning skills. The assumption was that they were capable of obedience and conditioning, but lacked the capacity to learn by observing others. Writing off that shadowing behavior as simple training misses what modern data suggests. Biologists now categorize this as true imitation, a form of social learning where the observer internalizes and reproduces a physical action they have never performed before. That shift in understanding is being led by cognitive biologists at institutions like the University of Vienna and Oxford University. In biological terms, true imitation requires an animal to observe, process, and accurately replicate a specific physical method. It is the ability to recreate the exact mechanics used to reach a goal, rather than just figuring out a different way to get the same result. To prove an animal is actually imitating, researchers have to design strict puzzle-solving tests. These experiments must eliminate alternative explanations, like a dog simply being drawn to an object because a human touched it, or matching a behavior by pure coincidence. To isolate canine intelligence, scientists had to mathematically separate a dog's desire for a food reward from the physical mechanics they used to acquire it. This led to the two-action, one-outcome methodology. In this test, a dog watches its owner open a sliding wooden door to reveal a piece of sausage. The catch is the owner opens the door using either their hand or their head. This chart tracks the success rate of the subjects over time. In the first testing parameter, dogs were rewarded with food only if they exactly matched their owner's specific physical method. If the owner used their head, the dog had to use its head. The dogs rewarded for copying their owners reached an 85% success rate, almost twice as fast as baseline groups. Then, researchers introduced a different variable. A second group of dogs watched their owners open the door, but were rewarded with food only if they used the opposite physical method. If the owner used their hand, the dog used its mouth. This second group failed to adapt. They continually copied their owners, even when it cost them the food. Biologists call this automatic imitation, a biological tendency to mirror an observed sequence of body movements that can be difficult for the animal to suppress. The data suggests that a dog's drive to physically mirror its owner is strong enough to override basic physical efficiency and immediate self-interest. If they are driven to copy, are they just mindless mimicking machines? To test this, researchers brought in a trained border collie named Guinness. Guinness the dog was trained to push a wooden rod down with her paw to release a food box. But there was a specific constraint. She demonstrated this action to observer dogs while holding a blue ball in her mouth. When it was the observer dog's turn, they ignored the paw push. Instead, they grabbed the rod with their mouths. They observed Guinness had a ball in her mouth, concluded her paw use was a necessity caused by that constraint, and opted for the more direct method. To confirm this, researchers ran a control condition where observer dogs watched Guinness perform the same paw push, but with an empty mouth. In that scenario, the observer dogs accurately copied the paw push. This is known as selective imitation. It shows that dogs have the cognitive capacity to evaluate physical constraints, judge their efficiency, and adjust their strategy based on the demonstrator's situation. To find the genetic origins of this intelligence, we have to travel to the Wolf Science Center in Austria. Researchers there conducted a comparative study pitting 6-month-old wolves against domestic dogs of the same age. Both groups watched a familiar older canine demonstrate how to open a puzzle box by pushing a lever. The results revealed a biological twist. The young wolves outperformed the domestic dogs. They were more successful at opening the box and more likely to match the exact action of the demonstrator. Imitation is an evolutionary survival tool inherited from wild wolves. It is required for the high levels of pack coordination needed for activities like cooperative breeding and hunting. This leaves us with a paradox. If wolves are genetically better at copying members of their own species, why do domestic dogs focus on humans so consistently? The answer is enculturation. Thousands of years of domestication and lifelong social conditioning in human environments have reoriented the dog's inherent pack learning system toward us. For the domestic dog, humans have effectively replaced the wolf pack. Our presence engages their evolutionary biology, making us the primary subjects of their observational learning. Your dog shadowing is a functional extension of their social biology. By observing your daily actions, they are constantly updating their own library of behaviors to better navigate the specific human environment they live in.